Greece is in mourning after 43 people are confirmed dead after two trains collided on Wednesday in the centre of the country.
Ukraine claims to have inflicted major losses on Russia during an epic battle near Vuhledar.
The moment two trains collided in the worst rail disaster Greece has ever seen, hours after the fatal accident in which at least 46 people are confirmed dead. The nearby city of Larissa is still in shock. Outside the city's train station, flowers are laid in memoriam of those who died. Most of them were university students.
Στη θέση τους μπορούσαμε να είμαστε κάλλιστα κι εμείς, καθώς οι περισσότεροι φοιτητές καταγόμαστε από τη Βόρεια Ελλάδα και χρησιμοποιούμε αυτό το τρένο και αυτό το δρομολόγιο συχνά, είτε για κοντινές είτε για μακρινές αποστάσεις. Και απλά από τύχη δεν βρισκόμαστε στη θέση τους.
Many expressed their anger about the mistakes and omissions by the authorities.
Αυτό που έγινε σήμερα δεν ήταν τυχαίο. Εμείς όλα τα χρόνια, 250 άτομα που ερχόμαστε με αυτή τη γραμμή, έχουμε άπειρες περιπτώσεις που ή καθυστερήσεις ή προβλήματα με τις γραμμές ή μονοδρομήσεις. Το ότι έγινε το ατύχημα έγινε γιατί η μονοδρόμηση δεν ήταν πρώτη φορά. Δηλαδή ότι έγινε κάτι σήμερα πρώτη φορά και τέλος.
The atmosphere is heavy at the General Hospital of Larissa, where relatives gather to identify the bodies of their loved ones. Red Cross volunteers offer their support.
Οι περισσότεροι έχουν ελπίδες ακόμα. Γιατί η ελπίδα πεθαίνει τελευταία. Σε γονιούς που ψάχνουν τα παιδιά τους, εγώ δεν μπορώ να πω τίποτα, δεν είναι η θέση μου να τους πω κάτι. Μόνο παρηγοριά. Έτσι μια καλή κουβέντα, ένα άγγιγμα στο νόμο, μια πορτοκαλάδα, αυτό.
Συγγενείς των θυμάτων από πολλές περιοχές της χώρας έχουν φτάσει στο Γενικό Νοσοκομείο Λάρισσας. Εδώ καλούνται να δώσουν δείγμα DNA, αφού μόνο έτσι μπορεί να ολοκληρωθεί η διαδικασία ταυτοποίησης των σωρών. Ψυχολόγοι και κοινωνικοί λειτουργοί βρίσκονται συνεχώς στο πλευρό τους. Από την Λάρισσα για το Euronews, Απόστολος Τάικος.
As anger grows over Greece's worst train disaster, several hundred students demonstrated outside the headquarters of the locomotive operator Hellenic Train. What began as a peaceful protest turned more violent quickly, with riot police facing off against stone-throwing protesters, although no arrests or injuries were reported. The passenger train, which collided with a freight train, had been carrying 350 passengers, many of them students returning from carnival celebrations. Beforehand, a vigil was held to remember those killed and injured. The death toll from an overnight strike on Zaporizhzhia in Ukraine has risen to 3. Rescuers managed to pull around 20 others from the rubble. The search for further survivors continued once daylight broke. Military officials in Zaporizhzhia said the apartment block appeared to have been struck by an S-300 missile. Since the outbreak of the war, Russia has launched multiple missile and artillery attacks on civilian targets, including residential homes.
Ukraine is claiming that Russia has lost at least 130 tanks and armoured personnel carriers in a 3-week battle near the southern Ukrainian town of Vuhledar. This footage was released last week, showing a Russian tank being targeted in the area. But Ukrainian officials are now describing an epic battle, inflicting a stinging setback on Moscow. The claims have not been independently verified. In the meantime, what is clear is that Russian shelling has left a trail of destruction in the town. In Bakhmut, Ukraine's Azov fighters are still defending the beleaguered city. Russia is determined to take Bakhmut, but it's more of a political prize than of any military importance. Both sides have lost many soldiers.
Бахмут — это тяжелое место, тяжелая такая территория, за которую доводится вести бои. Слишком большое скопление пехоты противника. У них стоит цель, и они кидают сюда все ресурсы.
President Zelensky has said the Ukrainian military may still decide to withdraw its forces from Bakhmut. We're not going to sacrifice all of our people just for nothing, he said. And as the war grinds on, civilians in Chasiv Yar, a city less than 10 kilometers from Bakhmut, adapt to life under the threat of increased shelling. Without heating, they also try to repair what has been damaged and destroyed and carry on.
Finland's parliament has overwhelmingly approved the country's bid to join NATO, clearing the last national hurdle for membership of the Western military alliance. The move was backed by 184 votes to 7, with MPs also signing off on the law required to put it into practice. The vote was initiated by Prime Minister Sanna Marin's government, which wanted to get it through before April's election, even though 2 NATO countries, Turkey and Hungary, have not yet ratified either the Finnish membership bid or that of neighbouring Sweden. Both countries moved to join in May last year, alarmed by Russia's invasion of Ukraine 3 months earlier. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, seen here with the Turkish Foreign Minister last month, said this week that membership for Finland and Sweden is a top priority for the alliance and urged Turkey and Hungary to urgently ratify their accession. Turkey has agreed to resume talks with both countries to iron out obstacles.
French President Emmanuel Macron received an enthusiastic welcome in Libreville at the start of a 4-day visit to Africa. Along with Gabon, he will visit Angola, Congo-Brazzaville and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Macron is on a diplomatic drive to test a new, responsible relationship with the continent as anti-French sentiment runs high in some former colonies. Paris is concerned over Russia and China's rising influence in French-speaking African countries.
China retaliates after the FBI resurrects the theory that the coronavirus pandemic originated from a Wuhan laboratory leak. This hypothesis, which has never been formally confirmed, affects the United States' credibility, says Beijing, and comes at a time when tensions between the two nations are at a high.
中方坚决反对借溯源问题搞任何形式的政治操弄。情报部门搞科学问题，本身就是将溯源问题政治化。基于美国情报部门造假、欺骗的斑斑劣迹，他们得出的结论没有任何可信度可言。
The man behind the comments has been the FBI director himself, Christopher Wray. Many scientists have rejected the lab leak theory as lacking in evidence, and other government agencies have drawn differing conclusions to the bureaus. Some of them have said, but with a low level of certainty, that the virus did not start in a lab, but instead could have jumped from animals to humans at one of Wuhan's seafood markets.
British police say they have discovered the body of a 2-month-old baby in a 2-day search for a missing newborn. The child's parents were arrested in Brighton in Sussex on Monday after they were spotted by a member of the public. They had been on the run for 7 weeks. Constance Martin and Mark Gordon have been charged with suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter. It's believed they have been living rough in a tent and moved around at night to avoid being found. It's thought the mother had given birth just a few days before they went missing.
TikTok is setting a 60 minutes daily usage limit for its users under 18. However, adolescents will be effectively able to opt out of the new measure, instead receiving a prompt to set their own screen time settings after 100 minutes of usage. Critics say the social media platform is highly addictive and is increasing mental health problems in teenagers, bombarding them with harmful content. With these changes, the platform hopes to protect its younger users, making it easier to log off. SpaceX has successfully launched a craft on a mission to the International Space Station after a delay of several days. The Falcon rocket blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center shortly after midnight local time, with 4 people on board. They are bound for a 6-month mission on board the ISS and will replace another multinational team that has been on the orbiting station since October. The outgoing crew includes an astronaut from the UAE, the first person from the Arab world to take part in an extended space mission. Catalonia in northern Spain is to enforce new water restrictions on nearly 6 million people due to a drought that has lasted more than 2 years. The measures will affect more than 200 municipalities, including Barcelona and Girona. The main water system in the region is at 27% capacity, thanks to 25 months of hardly any rain. Private gardens and public spaces will no longer be watered, and agricultural activities will have to reduce their water usage by 40%. Spain is not alone in having to deal with drought conditions. Italy, France and other nations in Western Europe are grappling with the second year of too little rain and snow. French Junior Environment Minister Béranger Couillard is warning action must be taken to avert a massive water crisis.
Je pense évidemment à l'utilisation des eaux grises, la réutilisation des eaux usées traitées, qui sont trop faibles dans notre pays par rapport à nos pays voisins. On est vraiment en retard. Aussi, c'est d'avoir en fait un plan d'ensemble pour justement faire en sorte qu'on ait des canalisations qui soient aussi remis à niveau, parce qu'on a beaucoup de fuites dans notre pays, entre environ 30% de fuites dans notre pays, et avec des territoires qui peuvent connaître des fuites jusqu'à 70%.
In Western Europe, nations are now scrambling to plan for a parched future.